Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what your organization is?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Muhammed Malik. I'm the founder of Tijara Ventures. We're an umbrella company that works on a partnership model, working particularly in the early stage venture space, so helping startups scale and grow.
Muhammad, we're here today at the Baraka Summit, day one. How's you finding it so far?
Oh, brilliant. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of my partners are here as well that I work with. And it's wonderful to see this kind of caliber of event in terms of the quality of the venue as well as the speakers and just everybody coming together in one cause, which is to promote and grow and scale Islamic finance across the world.
And Muhammad, how would you characterize the Islamic finance industry at the moment in the UK?
Yeah. In the moment in the UK, I see this as a wonderful trajectory. I joined Qatar Islamic Bank as a young, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed individual coming out of university, and now I've seen it mature. And I think this is, London, is literally the hub I see of Islamic finance, and I don't mean that lightly at all. I mean we've got from talent, resources. You look at all these KPIs that have been told to us, through the presentations when it comes to AUM, whatever it is. A lot of incredible work is happening over here. So I see as London as seriously one of the hubs of Islamic finance, and I see that this whole kind of movement from Islamic finance 1.0 to 2.0. Now I'm looking forward to 3.0 and beyond. So in particular in my field, I'm seeing the emergence of some incredible Islamic finance startups. In fact, I'm working on an agentic AI native kind of proposition within the Islamic Fintech space as well, and I can't wait to, as soon as we come out of stealth mode, to tell more about that as well.
Amazing. And what role do you think AI can play in Islamic finance, Muhammad?
So I think it's, I think three things we want to do with any organization when it comes to AI. First of all, it's process mapping, right? Understand where you are at the moment, and ideally try to understand that from a first principles basis, as in what are we doing right now, how can we think about it in a much more cleverer first principles way. And the second thing is possibility mapping. Think about what AI can do for you with regards to your processes. That could be from streamlining and even improving those processes. So it's not about reinventing the wheel, but rather let's use AI in a way that it is natural to us. It's not something. It's not an afterthought. We embed it into our processes from the very start, and it can really leverage. We can help it for our scale, growth, as well as kind of streamlining operations, human resources, and everything in between. So it's a wonderful thing, and I think we ought to look at it as infrastructure rather than as technology. Think of it as a de facto, because very, very soon it will be de facto, and all the organizations within this space that are not looking at it in this way will unfortunately be left behind.
And Muhammad, what do you think the biggest challenges are for Muslim entrepreneurs, not just in the UK but globally?
I think one of the important things, considerations for myself as formerly a faith-based entrepreneur, is not to build just for our communities but for the world. That's number one. We limit ourselves with our mindset. That's the first limitation. The second, of course, the elephant in the room is always scale and capital, growth capital. There's not enough what we call risk capital in the UK as compared to, say, the likes of San Francisco or other areas. But the way that we can go about that is be a bit more diligent, a bit more scrupulous, a bit more clever, and a bit more lean in our operations. That includes thinking outside of the box in terms of fundraising. I'll give you a quick example. One of the startups that I coach and mentor, we've created a toy collection to go along with their wonderful Duolingo style character. So we're thinking outside of the box. So think outside the box when growth capital isn't available, and think beyond borders and think beyond your particular narrow segment and build for the world. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was rahmatul lil alameen. He was a mercy for mankind. He wasn't just a mercy sent for the Arabs. And that's how we should also think about our propositions and startups, to be rahmah for the entire world.
Amazing. And Muhammad, just two more questions. The first is, how do we create our own Islamic fintech or Islamic startup ecosystem?
Wonderful. So, in fact, I did a piece of work for one of the entities in Saudi that works on a governmental level, and I think it's very, very simple. We're not meant to kind of overlook things as well. We're not meant to kind of exaggerate in how sophisticated these things could be. We just need talent. We need the right resources, and we need kind of a container for that. And I think what we ought to focus on, is getting the right talent, and then putting them together with the right support. And as a quick example, example, the incubator space that I work in, it's always been focused on how do we connect the talent to resources and help them scale. So when you put those two together, they will form the basis of everything else and let that grow organically. But we can go into detail, and I can share the white paper with you as well, but that's the basis of it.
And just the last question, what do you think, what are the top outlooks for 2026, or what's your outlook for 2026?
Yeah, brilliant. I think, so in terms of like technologies up and coming or kind of trends
or
or,
both.
yeah. I'm really, I think agentic kind of processes and stuff are going to be normalized a lot. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how private equity catches up to, say, the venture capital space in terms of that. I'm also really looking forward to quantum in terms of how the implications, the execution of that. And interestingly, a little bit left field, but I'm really interested in AR, VR as well, in terms of how that could play a role in, for example, gamification of workflow agents and things like that. I'm really interested in that space because I'm seeing the intersection of fintech and gaming, for example, worlds that are being built in order for people to develop their own startups and stuff within a virtual world. So to be honest with you, out of all of them, the one that I'm working on personally is the agentic space, but others that I'm seeing do great work is in the AR, VR space and in quantum, a place that I have no idea about, but I really look up to people that are working in that space because that's going to be super, the application of that is going to be mind-blowing in terms of what are we doing in the moment in the fintech space.
Amazing. Mohammed,
Yeah.
how can people reach out to you? Yeah? Social media?
So yeah, just quick one. So you can, my email is Malik at SMBF, so that's supportmuslimbusinessforum.global. That's my email. My LinkedIn is Muhammed Malik. You type in Tijara Ventures, so Tijara Ventures. And please, reach out if you've got any if you want somebody to soundboard, we're going to bounce ideas off, or you want support in any way, whether that's soft landing in Saudi or developing your proposition from 0 to 1, or you want scale or growth capital as well, inshallah, we'll be here to support you.
Amazing. Thanks a lot.
Inshallah, jazakallah khair. Barakallah fiik.
Could you tell us your name and your organization?
Anouar Adham, CEO of Bayuti.
Amazing. And Anouar, we're here today at the Baraka Summit in London. How are you finding the conference so far?
Very impressive. I was not expecting so many international speakers and attendees. So very, very international and very high profile.
And your organization, Anouar, obviously you've been in the Islamic finance industry for a long time. Could you tell us your organization?
Yes, sure. So at Bayuti, we are helping people to invest and finance real estate properties in England via diminishing musharaka or share ownership business model, which is 100% debt-free, interest-free, so no riba, no debt, a true Sharia-compliant product.
Amazing. And Anouar, what do you think the biggest challenges are for the home ownership space for Muslims in the UK?
I think it's most people have been growing up with this, this song in their head that if you want to buy a home, you need to take a mortgage. So to come with a product that is not a mortgage is quite difficult for people to just understand it and say, okay, actually I'm going to buy my home not using a mortgage. And that's basically the biggest struggle, is to rewrite the program that people has been taught for decades.
Amazing. And Anouar, what do you say to critics who criticize that Islamic mortgages or home purchasing plans are similar to the conventional and are more expensive?
On the Islamic mortgages,
Yeah.
I will agree, because literally it's still a mortgage. So, and this is, I think, one of the biggest issues with Islamic finance, is we always try to Islamitize, the conventional product. So whatever conventional, sector is doing, we're trying to do it in the same way with some Sharia veneers to make it Sharia compliant. Now, the product that we are offering is not a mortgage. So we took it from a difference. We don't care what a mortgage is. We are providing a real different solution to buy your home that is truly Sharia compliant and is not backed by any kind of liability or debt or mortgage.
And how would you characterize the current state of the Islamic finance industry in the UK?
No, it's great. I mean, when you look at the number of fintechs and companies that have been set up and that are trying to and we have a few successes in the UK. So when I look at all Europe, I think the UK is still number one in terms of Islamic fintech and the Islamic economy. So yeah, I mean, as an industry, we are growing and we are moving forward. Now the question is, are we moving in the right direction? That's another question.
And Anouar, what do you want the UK government to do? What do you think the UK government needs to do to make the Islamic finance industry more competitive?
It's always the issue of taxes. So as if you have debt and you are paying interest, you have tax breaks when you have a debt product. Those tax breaks don't exist when you have an equity product. So the issue is taxes. If you really want to have a different kind of finance that is not debt-based, then the government needs to tax debt the same way as equity.
And Anouar, you famously wrote a LinkedIn post that you attended a conference hosted by the Financial Times, which went viral actually, about AOFI Sharia Standard 62. What are your thoughts about AOFI?
I think my comments were like I said earlier, it's like, yes, we're moving forward, but are we moving in the right direction? And my point was that basically, we started with sukuk, which were linked to assets, backed by assets, assets that were income generating, and we started from that, and then we moved from asset backed to asset based to no asset at all. So if you look at the progress that we've done over the last 30, 40 years, we are moving away from the true belief of Islamic finance, which is risk sharing and true risk sharing and social impact and so on and so forth. And we are more and more just trying to copy paste the conventional finance product, which I think is wrong. I think the starting point should not be conventional finance, and then we try to do the same as conventional finance. We should start from the beginning with a truly Sharia-compliant product. Regardless of what happened on the conventional side, we need to come with our own solution.
And Anouar, what are your top outlooks for 2026?
My top outlooks are, I watch the space in crypto. I think 2026 might be a huge year for crypto. And another post that I wrote on LinkedIn about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and price of Bitcoin. But I think the market, I think in 2026 is going to clean up a little bit its act. And I strongly believe in a Sharia-compliant cryptocurrency that will be based on staple assets, so a staple coin, effectively. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see something in that space, or even do it ourselves.
Amazing. Anouar, what's the best way to reach you and to find out more about Crowd to Live in Bayuti?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to our website, bayuti.com, or you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Amazing. Thanks, Anouar. Assalamu alaikum. Could you tell us?
Wa alaikum assalam. I'm AbdulKader Thomas, and I'm a fellow in Islamic Finance and Markets at the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies. And I was previously the managing director of the SHAPE group of companies, which for the last 20 some odd years has been involved in Islamic finance startups, training, and so on.
AbdulKader, you're considered one of the pioneers in Islamic finance, and you've been in the industry for such a long time. How have you seen the development of the industry from when you started out to it's today?
So I think the main development that you see in certain markets is that operators have learned how to scale. So if you think about it, when we started the Islamic home finance market in the US, we were very happy to have 60 transactions in a year. Now you have in the United States 3 different entities generating approximately $1 billion each in new home financings. And then you have a half a dozen others entering into the market with their own production. So the market has learned how to scale. At the same time, I think what disappoints me greatly is that outside of a few very rare environments, people don't follow what I call the adage of the goose and the gander. They don't see that what's good for them is actually good for the wider public. And so many times people delivering Islamic finance in the Western countries and even in some of the Arabian countries or elsewhere, they think it's only for Muslims, the Muslims offering it. And yet when you look into Malaysia or you look into Nigeria, many of the offering entities are delivering it as a universal proposition. It's good for me, it should be good for you. Come and try it. And that I think offers a lot of hope for continuous growth of the industry and relevance for the industry.
And what would you say to people who says there's more forms of Islamic finance than substance?
I would say respectfully that they're mistaken. One has to understand that it's like anything that's driven by law. So if you get a conventional mortgage, it is actually driven by law, and so is Islamic finance. It's just that we've taken a different form of law and grafted it into legal systems. That law, though, will drive outcomes. So what's an example? I have a conventional mortgage, I pay you late, you charge me 4% penalty interest. I have a murabaha contract with you to buy my house, I pay you late, I will not pay you penalty interest. I may cover your cost of collection, but I will not pay you interest. We had a case about 15 years ago during the financial crisis with one of our customers in the US, murabaha contract. The investor wanted to extend the contract from 30 years to 40 years. And when we explained that they could do that, but they couldn't add 1 penny extra to the return, they agreed. So if it had been a conventional mortgage, they would have added another 10 years of interest. So the form drives the substance in many cases. I know people are very focused on substance is the first thing, but when you need to contract, that becomes delivered in form.
And we've seen emerging technologies over the past decade with Islamic finance. How do you think fintech and other emerging technologies will help the Islamic finance industry?
I think we're looking at a universe of young people across Gen Z and Gen X. Even I would include the millennials who are completely online. And it's not just that they're completely online. The way they absorb trust is not by looking at an authority figure. And I keep explaining this to some of the older generation who are setting up Islamic institutions somewhere, that it's not the famous sheikh that the young people are asking. It's actually, they're looking down in the comments section and saying, who else transacted with whatever the Islamic institution is? How was your experience? Was it good? Do you trust them? And when they see that there's a lot of people sort of distributed horizontally saying, this is a good experience, this is a good place to engage, then they have trust and they engage. So that the argument there is that online is, whether older generation people feel it or not, is the future, and having a good online offering is the only way the industry grows and survives.
And AbdulKader, what do you think about the role of AI within Sharia governance and auditing and other sectors within, or other segments within Islamic finance?
I've had a recent experience using AI to modify contracts. And AI did 2 things for me that were very good, but it could never do 3. So the one thing was, I could instruct it with detailed instructions, and it could take one contract and modify it according to another jurisdiction up to 80%. And I could do that, which was the second thing was I didn't have to worry about a legal fee for fresh drafting. So I could send the modification to the lawyers. The problem was AI doesn't yet understand enough context to know how to do the remaining 20%. So I think AI, whether you're talking about what I was talking about, analysis of vast numbers of retail transactions at a retail bank, it will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, but it will always, in its current form, have exceptions. So there's a long way to go for it to be perfect. But hey, I've dealt with in my career 2 or 3 Islamic institutions that have tens and tens of thousands of customers, and the Sharia audit department is expected to figure out how to look at every single retail contract.
Sorry, go ahead.
They're expected to look at every single retail contract. It's not possible. So if AI misses stuff in 20%, getting the 80% out of the way makes those guys able to do the job.
2 more questions, AbdulKader. I don't want to take too much of your time. The first is, obviously there's been a lot of controversy or a lot of coverage over AOFI Sharia Standard 62. Do you think this will lead to a fundamental reset within the sukuk market?
I was having this brilliant conversation. Not I wasn't the brilliant one. It was the interlocutor. And I said, what do you think about AOP 62? And he said, do you remember just 5 years ago, AOP 59 was going to end the market. All Islamic banks were going to collapse. And I said, I remember people saying that. He said, yep, everybody's adapted. So I think on the one hand, whatever AOP finalizes, the market knows how to adapt to it. I do think that parts of 62, it's much bigger than what people are complaining about. Parts of AOP 62 need some rethinking because they don't align to how people do business today or how laws operate in certain countries today.
And finally, what are your thoughts for Islamic finance going into 2026 and the rest of the decade?
Look on the margins because there's amazing, interesting growth on the margins. Things are happening in Africa that the Eurocentric and Gulf-centric press, commentators, industry leaders are not seeing. Things are happening in Central Asia at a faster pace than ever before. So the margins are where growth is happening, and there's a lot of tech and innovation on the margins.
Great. And what's the best way to reach you?
I'm on LinkedIn.
Amazing. Thanks a lot.
All right.